Hello, everyone, and welcome to this panel. I'm so pleased to be joined by two Asian gaming professionals who have come together to discuss about the Philippine Inshore Gaming operations, also known as PIGOs. And for context, PIGOs are for regulated online gambling for Filipino citizens. And we're here today to discuss PIGO's latest trends and regulations. And in addition, we will be unfolding some of the major trends as well as attitudes and regulations in online gaming in other Asian countries. So first up, we have Joe Pisano, who's calling from Manila. He's the founder and CEO of Jade Entertainment and Gaming Technologies. Founded in the Philippines in 2009, they are now the pan-Asian supplier of gaming technology and service provider. The Jade Group is involved on land-based product distribution, sports betting, and online operations, and they are the bridge between land-based and online gaming. Joe obtained his master's degree in business and technology at the University of New South Wales, Australia. He is an industry veteran with over 30 years of experience in global gaming technologies, which includes systems, slots, lotteries, bingo, and totalizators. And we also have Loren Stout, who is currently based in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. He is the founder and CEO at Pixil Asia and Dragon Points Live. Loren graduated with a degree in international business and minor in marketing from the University of Nevada, Reno. He has worked across multiple disciplines within the casino industry in both large and small companies. He has been an operator, salesperson, product manager, analyst, and a business owner in Asia. He works with his partners focusing on changing the game in Southeast Asia and beyond. So welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yanni.
Pleasure to have you both. Now, could we start by having you tell us who currently has been approved for Pico license in the country? I think, Joe, you can answer this.
Yeah, currently we know of two licenses that have been issued, one up in Subic and the DFNN group here in Manila. Both are going through product testing at the moment. We believe that product testing will go on for some time as we're still currently under quarantine conditions here in Manila. We are waiting on Pico to make the regulations public, but we know of several operators here in the Philippines that want to enter into the PIGO market, and they're just looking at different avenues and different technologies at the moment to see how they enter that market.
All right, thank you, Joe. And with the state of the pandemic, as bad as it is, how successful do you anticipate the PIGO market to be? Loren, could we start with you?
Sure. I think that metric is much weight to be seen. It's important that the regulator there has understood that revenues are down in land-based casinos, and to help is to look a little bit locally. I think the benefit here would be obviously regulating the potential black markets that might exist, and help localize the current online offerings for localized businesses.
And Joe, what's your take on this?
Well, we've over the past year, we've seen tremendous growth in the online industry, not only here in the Philippines, but internationally. And the PIGO concept is not something that's restricted to the Philippine market. PAGCOR have been the first regulator here in Asia to take the initiative to look at how to solve the problem of continuing business while we are in a pandemic. I believe whether it's during the pandemic or well after we get over our current problems, it'll be a great marketing tool for land-based casinos.
And Joe, have any of the land-based casinos pushed against PIGO legislation?
No, the land-based casinos say welcome it, and they see what we're doing here in Manila. Others from other jurisdictions have also been asking, how do we get in on this? How do we provide our customers with continuance while there is a pandemic? The players are registered to the property, whether they play on site or from another location. The properties see it only as a continuance of their business. And I'm sure Loren, from his jurisdiction as well, I'm sure he's getting inquiries from the properties he services as well.
Absolutely. The convergence that we're seeing here just within our industry locally in Asia, but globally between online and land-based casinos is a natural step during a pandemic such as COVID. I think a lot of land-based operators understand that the potential and the opportunity is there in the online world, but they haven't had the ability nor the reason to go and pursue that. Now, I think with the understanding of the regulators, the understanding of the businesses and the shareholders and the stakeholders within land-based casinos, I think that the convergence question is certainly more of a positive answer rather than it was before the pandemic.
And Lauren, what does Pigo for Live slots look like, and how can land-based properties extend machines on the floor to online play?
Well, I think, if you look at the online offerings that we've had traditionally with live table games throughout our markets here in Asia, it's been very well serviced in a fairly competitive market. Now, something about a land-based casino is, particularly in the Philippines and Cambodia, the slot machine play and the revenue that the land-based casinos make from that avenue is quite substantial in terms of gross revenue for the property. So it's an underserviced market in terms of offering those machines to existing players, like Joe pointed out. We have players that are registered to the property that the properties still want to service, yet they're unable to do so because the technology is not there or relatively new. So what this opportunity provides for companies like Dragon Points Live is really the ability to answer a question for land-based casinos in order to give them the ability to provide those land-based slot machines to their customers and to utilize the existing capital that they have on their floors that they might be paying for still in order to generate revenue. So there's a lot of positives, a lot of opportunity from a slot machine standpoint, and also the integrity of a land-based slot machine as well. If a player understands, particularly a land-based player who is playing a land-based machine, they understand that machine is there and it has the integrity of being in a licensed casino in a licensed jurisdiction. So they're far more comfortable to make the jump from a land-based play to an online play as well.
Interesting. So can players deposit and withdraw at land-based casinos who have the Pigo license? Joe, do you know anything about this?
Yes. Well, the whether it's slots or live tables or any online product, the player registers at the property. So the player can either register at the property or can also register via video to the property's call center. There is a process to take their identification, make sure that they're who they say they are, they're the right age bracket. So all that is done first. Deposits can be made either at the property or online. Here in the Philippines, we have things like GCash, Peso Pays, a number of online payment products that can be used for deposits and withdrawals. And these are all available to the online player. And, most jurisdictions would have the same type of online payment type gateways that could be used.
All right. And being the first real online gambling regulation for Asia, How big of a milestone is this? We want to hear your thoughts. Can you go, Loren, first?
I think it's massive, just outside of what we have in Europe and other jurisdictions around the world. It's really the only place in Asia where we do have online jurisdiction and regulation. And, it's also becoming a benchmark for other countries around the region that might want to start doing this sort of stuff and answering their tax problems as well with legalizing and regulating online gaming. I think that it's what PAGCOR and Philippines has done up until this point has been quite good. And I know for a fact that other countries are looking at their regulation and considering how they'll handle it going forward.
And Joe, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is a massive milestone for the industry. PAGCOR has shown the initiative to do what a lot of other jurisdictions have wanted to do for quite some time. We work across a lot of jurisdictions, and we are getting inquiries from other governments asking, how is PAGCOR going about this? What are operators doing in your region? How can we go online, within and this is from Central Asia, the Middle East, other regulated jurisdictions that have never looked at online, now wanting to take their online or their land-based casinos, and it's, PAGCOR's taken a step to bridge the gap here between land-based and online, and I think it'll only be a good thing for the industry.
Those are music to my ears. And Joe, will B2B providers need to have licenses, or what special regulation do they have to go through?
Most definitely. I mean, we're working within licensed jurisdictions. So, the same probate and regulation that applies to a land-based casino and people working in a land-based casino. So licensing of individuals, licensing of service providers, certification of products. These are a must. We can't hand over land-based gaming to a grey market. It has to be well regulated, and PAGCOR has put the regulations in place and the certifications in place to take care of this.
All right, I'd love to hear what Loren has to say in response to that.
Yeah, I think with land-based casinos, putting the amount of capital and the amount of investment they have, it's important. I think the licenses and everything and the regulation that comes with it is something that land-based casinos are quite familiar with. And to provide that product that has the integrity and kind of the third set of eyes that are looking at it through a regulator actually helps the customer as well. So absolutely, I think that regulation and licensing from not only operators but suppliers and people of that nature is a must.
Thank you very much, and we've uncovered the regulatory environment in the Philippine market. Now I'd like to move on to discuss other Asian jurisdictions. Could we start with Cambodia? Loren, with you being the expert in Cambodia, China continues to crack down on gambling online and offline, and Cambodia is no exception. Rumors have it that there are still online gambling companies in cities such as Sihanoukville. Now, how does this mean that regulated online gambling will come back to Cambodia after being shut down a year and a half years ago, in part by China?
Well, I think, the casino industry in Cambodia is a fairly large industry, locally. I think that the local government had seen the potential of a jurisdiction that is regulated with online, with the very large growth that we had in Sihanoukville from 2017 to 19. I think that it would be only smart to look at doing some sort of regulation similar to what the Philippines and PAGCOR have done in order to spur that sort of much needed development in a city such as Sihanoukville and around the region. There are at least $40 billion worth of investment that are placed into this country in casinos and resorts and IR type projects that are still ongoing at the moment. I think it'd be only natural to assume that online gaming would be some part of their revenue, and the regulation would need to be in place for these sorts of companies to continue with the development of this sort of a project. So I think it all bodes well for regulation of that sense. I think it would be great for the government to do so. I think that they understand the opportunity that is in front of them with doing so. So yeah, I think it's a matter of time, and the local government wants and needs that sort of development in being a developing country such as Cambodia.
All right, and many online operators and sites were located within land-based casinos. Is this still going on, and will China allow this to happen knowing the influence they carry with Cambodia?
Well, I think that, obviously the pandemic has challenges for every business, including Cambodia. There's been a lot of investment in this country since 2017 in the casino sector, not only from China, but also from other places like Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam. Those borders were just as booming as Sihanoukville. So there's a lot of investment along those lines. I think that the jobs aspect that the online operations provide is also good for the local authorities and the legacy type owners that we've had in Cambodia, who have been here for more than 30 years, some of them. So they definitely have the commitment, and they've shown the commitment to Cambodia in order to proceed with their business and see how it goes.
Thank you very much, Loren. Now I'd like to turn over to Joe and discuss India. Now, outside of rummy and online poker, how has the growth of online gambling been with relationship to sports betting and casino?
Well, for sports betting, this week the IPL started, which is their cricket league. So for the next 6 or so weeks, sports betting and cricket betting will be huge in India. Several jurisdictions now throughout India are looking at regulating online sports betting, online casino, and also virtual sports, as well as esports. And this goes for the Indian market and Sri Lanka and also Nepal. So if we look at those 3 countries as a bubble, Nepal has moved forward now. Nepal has only last week endorsed the first online provider, and that provider should go live within 60 days. Sri Lanka is setting up a Dubai type zone, which will allow gaming, and they'll be looking at regulating online and licensing, possibly within the next year. So we will see new online jurisdictions, and we will see the growth in these 3 areas, both land-based and online.
All right, and will India regulate online gambling anytime soon, state by state or national, federal? And will regulated online gambling be tied to land-based casinos in GOA?
I think it'll be state by state. I don't think it'll be tied to land-based casinos. We will see areas like Pondicherry that may regulate land-based. We may see areas like Chennai that will regulate esports, and we will see places like Goa, Sikkim that will allow their land-based properties to offer online. So there'll be a variety of models throughout the country. I think the most important thing there, once they do start going state by state, will be, geofencing will become very important. AML controls there will become very important. Player registration and identification will become very important. So with what's happening in China and the blocking of online and land-based out of China, India will possibly be the most important market within the region moving forward.
Wow, all right. And Joe, you mentioned Nepal a while ago. Let's discuss Nepal. It seems that Nepal is growing with offline casinos, housing about 6 casinos now. And what is the offline gambling situation on regulation? Will land-based casinos grow going forward and possibly expand beyond just tourists?
There are your land-based casinos. There are your what they call e-casinos with slots only, mostly along the Indian border. We will see some new properties, land-based properties in India. We will see online tied to some of the e-casinos, and we will see online licensing, and that's already happening now. So we'll see the first online site within 60 days.
All right. And would things like regulated live dealer operations be based inside the legal land-based casinos? And a follow-up question, will those casinos be the first to get online licenses?
Live dealer within properties. Now, live dealer within properties will happen here in the Philippines under PIGO. You can utilize your existing tables. So basically, you're expanding your existing tables on property to the online market. And that can happen whether it's here in the Philippines or in Nepal or in Cambodia. The technology is available. The cross-marketing upstream and downstream is also available. The the technology which is used in live studios, we have several here in Makati, is basically the same technology that's used on the floor. Now, it's not just going out into the general public, but expanding play on the casino floor into safe zones on the casino floor. At the moment, we don't have things like theaters, restaurants, lounges, and this is both for slots and tables. Players want to be in a safe zone, so rather than sit at 5 at a table, they could move away from the table into a safe zone, which may be a lounge, previously a lounge, and sit there and play a machine or a table from a safe zone within. So when we say online, it may not be all the way outside the property. It could be within the property itself.
We get a lot of requests like that in order to provide both solutions, whether it's online, but also localized through a LAN, LAN network where they can set up zones to do that. Because, some guy might be on your favorite machine or next to it, and you want to keep the safe distance. So you find the place to go do that.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Joe and Loren, for a great discussion. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have, but we appreciate the valuable insights the both of you gentlemen have shared with us today. So thank you so much. And to our viewers, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you for the next panel.
Thank you, Yanni, and thank you to SiGMA.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.